Hi, Nivas. Welcome to our I2E Knowledge series. Super glad to have you here.
Hey, thanks, Jibin. Thank you so much for hosting me.
Absolutely. So, maybe before we start, if you can give us a brief intro about yourself and your, Freshworks and your role there, that'd be great.
I work for this company called Freshworks. We're a customer engagement software company. Um, we were a startup in 2011. We kind of grew to become like now we're a $3.75 billion worth company. I don't think we are very fond of the term unicorn, but yeah, we are termed unicorn by the startup industry. Um, I think one of the very key differentiators between all the other startups in India and us is that from day one, we were going global as a business, and we've kind of been successful in that to kind of build in a lot of the industries where there's a heavy competition, right? In the B2B SaaS space, we've been fairly successful, and we've grown our way to become one of the popular brands in the customer engagement and CRM and marketing automation space. In terms of my role, I've been with Freshworks for close to 5 years now, and I used to previously take care of marketing for the CRM product, which was Fresh Sales, and where that was my major learning curve, where I got to see a product from zero to one sort of a story, where we were competing in a very competitive space, but I think we were able to crack it pretty well and kind of. Get into the big guys circle, right? Like that's the most important thing when you play in a SaaS market. Now I currently take care of the startup program at Freshworks, where we partner with a lot of VCs, accelerators, incubators, and all that to kind of open up Freshworks products and also see how we can pay it forward to some of these startups through like mentorship or resources or community or things like that.
Got it. So maybe if you go back a little bit and speak about your professional journey, starting from Lena Labs to Freshworks. How has that journey been? What are the different roles that you've been, and how does that growth path look like?
Right. So I think even before Lemma Labs, I interned with Profoundis, or now it's called Full. I mean, they got acquired by Full Contact for like 4 months, where I really did not understand how B2B worked. But I was just, I mean, Arjun was just, because he knew me through IEEE, so he just brought me on board for a quick I think 5 month internship search, followed by. So I was always very keen about startups, right? I didn't really want to go. I did have like offers from a couple of services companies, but I was not very keen about it because I thought, okay, you know what's going on and why work in a services company. I was always very fond of these nimble teams, even at Freshworks. Whenever the team becomes big, I kind of move out to join a very smaller team. So I think I like being nimble, and I think the word hustle is kind of very over used, but I think I kind of hustle my way through in a couple of these things. So in terms of my career, I think I started off with Lemma Labs right after my graduation, and it was a very interesting journey. It was again B2B sales. I was more of doing business development, but I think that's a lot of the basics of sales is something that I learned from Lemma Labs. It was an IIT Madras research park startup. We were going after a very, strong problem, the hands-on experience for hardware technology, right? Like colleges don't do enough justice on that part. So we were trying to solve for that, but I just felt we were not able to scale it as enough. So then I got to know the folks at Frilp. They were building something very interesting back then, uh, something where they were taking offline businesses to online, and where you can kind of interact with them, like sort of a thing. I mean, that obviously needed so much scale, but I think back then it was just very interesting to solve such a problem. So we were going after that problem. But then what happened was, I think it was more of a scalability issue, and there was just so much competition and monetization issues and things like that, where the founders decided to. I think we did get a couple of acquisition offers, and we got acquired into Fresh Desk back then, and now we've rebranded into Freshworks. I think easily Fresh Desk slash Freshworks has been my um, career building trajectory very easily from what I was. Like now, I mean, I'm happy and proud that of being a B2B SaaS marketer slash partnerships person today. Have built a lot of network, have built a lot of connections, relationships, and also from a standpoint of understanding the true market, right? When so Girish actually says this really well of playing for good performing markets or good performing products, right? Marketers are should be like you can either be like a Sachin Tendulkar or like a Rahul Dravid, right? Rahul Dravids are the ones who play very slow. They play a very long term game. Girish used to joke saying, "Hey Nivas, you should be like a Sachin Tendulkar, right? When there is an open field, don't play strokes, right? Play very powerful shots and take it out of the like the boundary." So I think that's been my story. I mean, yeah, fresh sales and now the startup program. So one of the brand new initiatives from Freshworks, and we're actually scaling it up pretty quickly and fast. The leadership is fully behind us on this, backing us. So happy to be taking care of this initiative.
So we actually spoke a little bit about this, when we were speaking. Actually, what is your take on volunteering? You've been volunteering a lot, or before that maybe. What are some of the organizations or communities that has influenced you both professionally and personally? Can you speak a little bit about that?
Right. I think I came from a very mediocre college, right? It was not like the tier one of college of sorts. And for me, getting that external exposure, like for example, I never pitted myself with my own classmates, right? I always thought, okay, you know what do the say the tier one college students do, or I mean, back in college, or even now, I think that's a mentality that it's not really a competition game, but just to kind of self benchmark yourself, not with people within Freshworks, but look at, okay, hey, what are some of the most prominent marketers doing? How can we, I mean, yeah, just try replicating or maybe get inspired by them and do some of the things is what I think. It's something that has stuck to me. So earlier I used to be very excited about, hey, what are the different things that are going on? What are the events that are happening? What are the initiatives, projects, different things, right? Like I was always very keen about I used to speak to a lot of the folks who were doing MS back then and all that, and I used to call them up and ask them, hey, how did you prepare? What did you do? What's life like and all that, right? So I think that kind of gave me an exposure to IEEE. That's the first entity that I started volunteering with. Until then, I was not really like a volunteer or like a person who used to take active interest in some of these things, right? And I have to give it to them. Like they've really transformed so many of the things. Like I mean, they were the ones who gave me the professional experience or the professional etiquettes that we possess today for a lot of the IEEEans who graduate from India, APAC, or even the US. Where I mean, once I entered Lemma Labs, I knew how to write emails really well. I knew how to put together proposals really well, or organize, or all the sides of the business part of it and the tech side of it was fairly, because of the network and everything. It was fairly straightforward. So that was critical. Even now, right? Like the network is just so huge. I mean, not just from a like a professional side of it, right? Like even the fun side of things. There've been times where when I go to a new city, I'm actually a little frugal, right? I don't spend a lot of money on like I hate paying money for stay, right? Like if someone's sponsoring me, I'm fine, but if not, paying for a night stay is like something against my, I don't know why, but it's such a thing. And probably now I do, but maybe when I was right out of like I mean 3 years 4 years into career, I always used to check who was in that city, and I'll be like, hey, and it used to be a very friendly thing, right? I would have had some sort of this thing with them, and it would be like, hey, you know what, I'm going to be there for 1 extra day, do you mind if I crash at your place, right? And they've, I mean, some very sweet people who always welcomed me with open arms. It's been brilliant. So I mean, that's sort of a network. Where do you get, right? Like because all of you are combined by one particular thought or interest. So that's really very that's something that I've really loved about the IEEE community. Apart from that, I think I mean, SaaS is been a pretty interesting thing for me. So, Girish, one of the days we started off this initiative called SaaS Boomi. one of the volunteers for it. It's actually run by the Indian SaaS founders, Girish, Krish Subramaniam from ChargeBee, Suresh Samandam, Vinod Muthukrishnan from Cloud Cherry, a bunch of these people, Mana from Eka Software. So we are just volunteering, but it's just such a pride to be putting Indian SaaS into the global this thing, like kind of putting our flag over there in the global market. So that's something that's very proud. Yeah, I think these are the two volunteering initiatives that I'm very close to heart to, right? Yeah.
So when coming fast forward a few years, at your current role in Freshdesk, what are the types of startup partnerships that you're looking at this point in time?
Right. So it's this, right? Today, Freshworks is still a very heavy SMB business, right? We do have a lot of businesses that are out there using Freshworks in different formats. So today we've opened it up in a pilot program. We've not even officially launched it. We've not done an announcement or so, but we've just been trying to see what works. What sort of credits should we give, or what sort of discounts should we give for the startups? What excites them, right? And what value proposition will be for them? So today we're working with a lot of the VCs globally, accelerators, incubators, startup entities like, let's say, Startup India, or even TechCrunch for that matter. Right? We partner with ExtraCrunch, their paid subscription thing to provide benefits to their members. We work with global accelerators, like all the top ones are on our thing, like Y Combinators of the world, Techstars, 500 startups, Axel, Sequoia, obviously because they are also part of our investor this thing. So they were super sweet to kind of kickstart the relationship. But I think they've also their startups have found a lot of value out of the program that we run. So it's been fun. Just that since COVID lockdown has happened, we've not been able to meet new people. Right? I was looking forward to really spending like a couple of months in the US this year, building more partnerships and meeting new people and kind of getting the lay of the land. Right? That isn't happening, so that's a little disappointment. But I think. Yeah, other good things with respect to health and other things have happened, so I'm fine with that. Yeah.
Just to dive deep into that startup partnership bit there. Are you looking to work with startups in this space? Sort of a cohort model, mentoring them, helping them with is that the model that you are looking at, or working with? Yeah. What is a model? Yeah.
So great question. Actually, we don't have the bandwidth to be running cohorts. We don't want to be becoming an accelerator program, at least at the moment, right? We don't have the bandwidth, and if you see, a lot of the SaaS companies don't seem to have the bandwidth to be doing that. Also, like even the largest of the SaaS brands, right? Like let's say the Zoom or the Slack of the world, right? There's so much for you to focus on your business, but what we're doing with respect to the mentorship, right? And also we feel we cater to almost a lot of we're very sector or vertical agnostic in terms of our customers. But in terms of the help we provide, it's very clear for B2B or SaaS businesses, because also very, I think I quote Girish a lot, but Girish says this saying, hey, content without context is gyan, right? I mean, you're just chuma randomly talking about something, and it doesn't really help. So that way, I feel we're very helping a lot of the B2B businesses in terms of two other things. One is the mentorship part, where we're trying to identify some of their challenges. We get a lot of these very ad hoc queries, and at the same time, we do very closed door discussions on. We pick up a particular topic, we kind of go very deep into it, like a deep dive sort of session, and we like kind of break that down for them. And the other thing that we're actually working on is doing a lot of these co-marketing activities for these folks, so that for them, for us, it's like if we're able to integrate with one of these folks and push them in front of our customer, right? It means a lot of product adoption for us, which is a great metric from our perspective, but it's absolute business and leads for them, right? Why would they want to? Which startup says or is unhappy for new customers? Right? I mean, that's a small way of paying it forward, because we were on that side as well, where I think AWS, a lot of people have helped us in different formats. Yeah, I think we're happy to be doing this. Right?
So one of the other things that I wanted to pick up is in terms of growth, right? You've done a lot of marketing, product marketing in fresh sales, and also now looking at the growth part of it. With respect to startups, if you're in a startup's shoes, and if you're to look at from their perspective, what are the high-level functions that a startup should focus on with respect to growth, and why?
So there are two types, right? Like I'll probably speak from a B2B angle because I'm not a very B2C person, right? I think I'll do injustice if I speak about B2C. From a B2B, there are two types, right? One is going after a very established market, like how Freshworks does it, right? Like we go after very large markets. We know that the market exists. We know that there's a clear opportunity there where you can go in and disrupt. So we go there and play that sort of a model, or you can also try becoming a category creator, right? Gainsight was a great example of creating something in the customer success space, or yeah, a lot of them have been good category creators. So I think if it depends on what you're trying to accomplish. So if you're really playing in a very well established market, then I would probably recommend leverage the search as much as you can, right? It's a volume game. You know there are a million people who are looking for your product or looking for your category. So I would say leverage search as much as you can. Probably build enough partnerships, integration partnerships that you can, right? Like for example, if you are say a lead enrichment software, right? Identify all the top CRM software, just go into them, integrate with them, and just get into their marketplace. It builds so much visibility. It's very easy game. And also content marketing, right? Content marketing is such a gem. Just that it's I would say it's not done very well today. Generally, like a lot of companies do it very well. A majority of the companies don't do it well. So it's just that sort of a thing. If you're playing into a category creation, right, you got to be a little more of. You need to create awareness, right, about your particular the problem that you're solving. Why are you solving it this way? What are you solving, right? Like for example, I really like what Basecamp is doing today. They've created this email. Should I call them an email client called Hey.com, where it can just work on top of your email, but just that it's very powerful what they're doing is they know that they're creating a category over there, right? A new type of thing, right? And if you see, Jason Fried did a video about it, and DHS is going crazy against Apple about all the noise that he's making, right? He knows, they know marketing really well. They're playing against the Goliath, right? They're being the David, they're playing against the Goliath. If not for that news, I don't think half the folks would have checked out Hey. They know their marketing. Even earlier, they used to talk about remote working. They used to talk about, hey, why work should not be crazy and stuff like that. They just keep making some noise or the other. Brilliant folks. Like, Basecamp is like the OG of SaaS, right? They've really, they've really cracked something. Smart founders. Just that Basecamp did not. I don't think they took off that well, but others kind of caught up in the market because they were, yeah.
With that, we sort of come to the end of the first segment. Before we break, I have two questions for you. We usually ask this, the founders that are coming in, but I think this is relevant here as well. First one is, are there any companies that you wish you co-founded?
I wish I co-founded. Okay, that's a very tricky question. I've never thought about this. I would love to. It's just a very this thing. Okay, Freshworks was one company where Girish came with like 15 years of SaaS experience, right? So it's such a great opportunity to be a part of and all that. I'm not very specific about another company as such, but I think I'll go on to build a SaaS company someday or the other is what I feel. Like maybe I may not be the tech side of things, but I just feel I can probably fully own up the GTM and run it, like the setting up. Not a full product person, but yeah, I think I have a decent understanding of user experience. So
The second one is, which is your favorite book?
I think this is something that I keep going back to, right? It's Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's just such a classic. I think the guy wrote it like some 40 years ago, 30 years ago, right? But it's still, or even more than that. I don't know the exact thing, but it's still so timeless the way it's been said. Like very simple things. I've mentioned this in multiple of my interviews or whatever you want to call this. So it's either that or yeah, I think I love reading more business books than marketing books. So I actually liked Zero to One pretty well, right? The way it was thought through, and yeah, Peter Thiel in that matter. So
Awesome. So with that, we come to the end of our first segment, and our second segment is called as Photo Walk, where we have a couple of
uh-huh.
photos that we sourced from your journey. So
Okay.
maybe if we can go through those images, and you can share some of your memories, with that, that'd be great.
Okay, so I think you've thrown me under the bus now. Okay, fine. Yeah.
So here is the first one.
Okay, okay. Um, yeah, so as I mentioned, IEEE has really been a very transformational journey in my career. I think all the way from like I started volunteering at a college level in 2009 to now. Last year I was appointed. This year I took a break from IEEE volunteering. Last year, I was appointed as the global vice chair of IEEE Young Professionals, of all the folks in IEEE who are between the age of 22 to 37. So this was a very proud moment where, in fact, I think I would have to thank probably the regent and director, both Ramakrishna Kapagantu, who appointed me as the first young professionals coordinator for Asia Pacific, and then followed on by Cook Jin Chun, who kind of saw the work that I was doing, and he kind of reinstated the faith and said, "Okay, you know what? I want you to continue for the next 2 years," because I only came in as a transition for 1 year in Ramakrishna sir's time, but Cook Jin Chun actually continued my thing. So I think I'm probably one of the few folks who had a 3 year term with young professionals thing, and this was my appointment thing for me being the global vice chair for young professionals.
Awesome. And here is the second one.
Ah, okay. So this is in okay. It's not in actually Tokyo. This is called a place called Chiba. It's in Japan, and where there was an idea to innovation sort of a competition being held. Right, sitting right next to me is the IEEE president, then IEEE president Karen Battleson. So this is a very fond memory, and on the left side of me is my fresh desk bag that I used to carry everywhere. I'm such a huge Freshworks fanboy, so I still keep. So they were presenting it to us, and I was like almost like a. I don't know if I was a judge. I think I was like a sort of a like an evaluator sort of a thing. So it was really like I was sitting over there. Like I come from very normal background, so for me over there was a very proud moment being there, and kind of speaking like I've built some great relationships with like a couple of Japanese friends, and I love the Japanese culture. I think one of the best countries in the world, Japan. So yeah, so happy. Yeah, looking at this photo.
Awesome. Awesome. So here is the next image.
Oh, okay. Okay, so these are some people who I really respect, right? This was taken in a webinar that we did where all of us were, the companies were affected by COVID, and we were all working from home. And there was a queue from the media asking about, hey, how are you planning to return to work? So we thought we'll do a webinar about it. Girish, yeah, he's like a huge inspiration, like a lot of support and everything, along with Suresh Samandam and Chris Subramaniam from ChargeBee. And Suman was the moderator. I was just, in fact, the IT boy over there taking care of the controls and everything. But it was fun, right? I mean, these are people who you really, even like, for me, it was just more about, hey, you know what, I get to spend 1.5 hours with them just before the webinar, after the webinar, all of that. So for me, I'm just like, these are small things in life that just keeps me happy and excited. So I'm just fine with that, right? Like even small things that they say during the webinar or even before the webinar or after the webinar just gets me on my learning. So I'm fine spending. I was just joking to my team saying, hey, I became IT team member today. Not we have a lot of respect for them, not in a just in a funny way, right? Like saying setting up, like plugging it in and stuff like that. So yeah.
Yeah, I think I actually rushed to the beginning. Actually, you were saying, "Hey, can you see the pin video or is it a gallery view? I
Oh
think
yeah.
you were speaking about that in the beginning. Yeah.
Right, right, right. Yeah.
And this is the next one.
Oh, okay, so this is the first edition. This is the closing note of SAS Bhumi, not even closing note. So after that, so Girish is a huge Rajinikanth fan, and he wanted to kind of finish it with like it was the first time SAS Bhumi was done. Before that, it was another initiative. So SAS Bhumi, it was its first edition, and we were just very proud that okay, we were creating this sort of a community from India, right? And so he put out a small Rajnikant's video clipping which says. Like in Tamil, it's different. Like I mean, what it translates into is this show good enough for you guys? Okay, so it's a very it's a punch dialogue sort of a thing, and it's the last line of the movie called Peta, and we played that, and Girish actually had it edited in such a way that after that it'll say, I mean, in the movie it'll say a film by Karthik Sobaraj, but then over here it'll say an event by Sasbumi team or something like that. So it is such a fun moment. So I think all of us, the smiles on our face is just that, where we're enjoying. I mean, also a Tamil fan. So yeah, just watching that was just fun, right? Yeah, again, some of the bigger stalwarts in the SaaS industry. You can see
Right.
Kadim from Whatfix. You can
Yeah.
see Facilio's founder. You can see Vinod Muthukrishnan. You can see Suresh and Girish just
Right.
in a very humble way standing in the back
Right.
with his hand folded in his arms. Yeah.
Awesome. So yeah, this is the one. This is the
Oh
other one
God.
that I have.
Okay. Okay. So this was a, I mean, I would say this was my best event. I mean, or best initiative at Freshworks till date. So we were on a spree of putting out the Fresh Sales brand, right? We were very, very aggressive about it. We were like, okay, you know what? In 2 years, we need to get our brand out. We were like, just into set of people, right? Who were like, huh, let's, and we, so what we actually, in the year, I think about 2018, we had put together about 40 webinars in a year, right? Like week on week, there were some very strong webinars with some of the senior leaders. And then I was like, hey, you know what? We should do something slightly different. At that time, virtual events was not a big thing because everyone was looking into physical events. Now everyone's doing virtual events, and I'm like, okay, I don't know what I'm supposed to be proud of, types, right? What we did was we reached out to almost all the top sales leaders, founders, and influencers from different entities. There were folks from Slack, Twilio. I think there was Zoom. There was a lot of the very top companies, and we put together this online initiative called High Velocity Sales Summit. Girish really loved it. The team really loved it. The company really loved it. I think, and the company was of absolute support, and they showed so much love. Right, like people made videos, quick videos promoting the like they recorded themselves and promoted the summit and all that. So my designer is actually he's a fantastic designer. He is a huge Avengers fan. Okay, so he kind of, I think at that time there was Infinity War that had released, and I mean there's a little bit of inspiration into this where we were like, hey, so high velocity. We were thinking the space is the theme, and I think he got inspired by that and put this together. So you can see me on the top right in a very small way. You can see people from G2 Crowd. This thing when we released this poster, there was so much excitement saying, "Oh my god!" And just looking at Girish in the center, like a sort of a. I think my designers just did a brilliant job putting him there with like a mastermind sort of a feeling, right? It just felt so good, and I still remember Girish appreciating us. It's actually slightly. I mean. Only when you do very exceptional work, Girish comes and appreciates, right? So that's a such a joyful moment, and you always want to get that next step, saying, "Okay, hey, when will I get that next appreciation?" Right? It's a small thing. I mean, it's not a finance related thing or this thing, but it's just a like, hey, you know what? The CEO appreciates what you do. So he sent a message saying, hey, this is really really good efforts. This is like a pulling off like a world class thing, and that's something that I still hold true to. I still have that screenshot in my phone, and yeah, that's such a proud moment.
Yeah, I think we spoke about it last time when we spoke. When we met at Freshworks in Chennai as well. I think you showed
Yeah.
us a clip of the employees promoting this video as well, and it
Oh, yeah.
also comes back to the point where you discussed about leveraging content, the way you actually approach them. I think you spoke a
Oh,
little bit
yeah.
about how you approach them, how they
Right.
were on board to do this and
Right.
everything. Awesome stuff.
Right. Right.
Great. And this is the next one.
Okay, so yeah, thanks to this program called I enrolled in this program called Amura. So the left side of me is taken in the second week of February. It was at the US Freshworks office. I was about 131 kgs, and yeah, I've not really revealed my weight number till date to anyone. I've always only told the difference. I think I'll keep this a little special. Maybe you can say, no, don't even put it as a gap. But yeah, the right side me, or at least according to what I see, is me taken like a week ago, where a friend of mine helped me with a photo shoot. Something where I found another friend. Like, I think this is one of the things that I'm very happy about, right? The relationships that I've built. So I called up a friend whose office was very close by. He had a very fancy office, so he was like, "Dude, of course, just go." Was this thing? So I went on a Sunday. He had one of his employees over there, lit up the entire space, turned down all the AC because he knows that I sweat like in the temperature, right? And yeah, and another friend of mine just showed up. He actually had sold off his camera. He was a camera. He was a photographer like 5 6 years ago. He just showed up over there, spent like some 3 4 hours, not a single this thing. Very thankful. But yeah, just talking about it. Over the 90 days, I've been able to lose about 31 kgs till date, and yeah, was have been starting to focus on health and a little bit of fitness. Still, my stamina sucks, but I think it's just improved over the years. Right, I can now go on a 5.5 kilometer or 6 kilometer jog. Earlier, I never used to move my ass for even a 200-meter walk. So yeah, a lot of good appreciations and compliments. And now I'm just focusing on removing my belly fat and just building a better jawline.
Awesome, awesome. So here is our the last picture.
Um, So yeah, a small this thing. Dad passed away in 2011. So mom always was super supportive, right? Even during the weight loss thing, I can't cook to save my life, right? I suck at cooking. So chicken alone, I like paneer and all I can prepare. Like now, I've started learning very small bits of it. But mom was very sweet, saying, "Hey, when do you want me to prepare chicken? When do you want me to prepare this? When do you want me to prepare that?" Right? So and she's just been brilliant support. Like, I think during my college, I got the opportunity to go to Norway to attend an energy summit. Right, it costed, like, I mean, they took care of the accommodation and the tickets and everything, but the flights was something that I had to take care of. Right, mom decided to support that. Mom decided, like, I mean, after, like, that was my second year of college. Dad, this thing, she's been brilliant support in almost all the things that I've been doing, and she's like super sweet. Just like, I mean, I think any mom, but yeah, obviously your mom is closest to you. She's been super selfless and really helpful in the this thing. And yeah, I think this was a very proud moment for. She was not very fond of degrees and all. Neither was I. Like, I mean, degree was just a thing. I just thought, okay, you know what? I should take a nice photo, right? Yeah. So
Awesome, awesome. So with that, we come to the end of our photo walk
okay.
segment, and we have
This wasn't that
our
bad. I thought there'll be a little more embarrassing photos.
no, no, no. So, actually, I couldn't find any embarrassing photos of yours. I
I
think,
think I'm a
but
little specific about not posting them on. Maybe I don't know if you looked into my Instagram, but yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll have to.
yeah.
I'll have to see. I'll have to dig it up also. Yeah.
So next we have is a rapid fire round where we have a few questions for you. Nothing serious. If you can take 5 10 seconds to answer that, that'd be great. So the first one is describe Freshworks in 2 words.
Um, I think I can say a lot of things, but one thing that I really am happy and proud of working in this company is uh, they're very employee first,
Okay.
right? Something that I posted recently on my social media as well, where in this unprecedented times that they could have easily. So we generally get our appraisals, the financial component of it in March, March slash April, and this time the COVID specifically hit us during that time. So they told us saying, "Hey, we're going to pause for now. We don't know whether it'll happen. It might, if it happens, it might happen in July or August times, but we're very very unsure of it happening." So like we were initially we were like, how, why, dude, what do I work last year? They're not giving me and stuff like that, right? Like, I mean, just like any employee would feel that, oh shucks, I was planning for some financial planning and stuff like that, right? But then in the June all hands, Girish came back. Actually, as months passed by, right, employees were like, okay, you know what? We're just happy that there's no pay cut, there's no layoffs. There wasn't a single layoff, Jabin. So super happy about that. And we were actually doing well as a company. I mean, there's no question about that. Just that there's obviously a slowdown in the market, so there is that. And I think all of us adapted to the remote part of it very quickly. I think all of us stood together, shoulder to shoulder, and fought in. Have been fighting in this battle. So, and in the June all hands, Girish opened up saying, so whenever there's an all hands, we're generally worried, right? Like, okay, is there going to be like a sad update or a happy update? I mean, it's just a usual thing, or maybe I'm just too scared of certain things. So he was like, hey, just one update. We recalibrated. We took the time to kind of replan everything, and we've decided to go ahead with the appraisals from July. We were all taken by surprise. It was such a, I mean, it's not about the financial part, right? The financial is there. I mean, it's a small element which obviously helps grow your, I mean, life and your settles and stuff like that. But I think it was just a gesture which I was really really happy about. I think they're very employee first. So, in fact, they say if you take care of your employees, you take care. The employees will take care of your customers. The customers will make your shareholders happy. So just take care of your employees.
Awesome.
Girish is, yeah, absolutely believes in that.
Awesome. So the next one is, if you could trade lives with one entrepreneur or a person for a day, who would it be and why?
I think, I mean, I would love to say Girish again, but just that I've just been saying his name too many times, so I'll just try to think of someone else. Um, for me, I think I really have a lot of respect on Eric S. The CEO of Zoom. The reason being, I mean, it's a very, like, I mean, he's a true wanting to improve it, right? Like he went against Cisco, his own, I mean, the company that he was also part of. And then he wanted to build Zoom because he felt, hey, WebEx was becoming a little old school, or however they term it. I don't want to go against Cisco. So, and in fact, there's so much political pressure in terms of calling it a Chinese brand, Chinese company, and all of that. So much headache, but at the same time, they're doing really, really well. Not because of the part they're doing really well, but he's just an amazing human being. I've had like a couple of conversations with Eric S. Yuan, like on Twitter and all that. He's super humble. He's replied to me. I mean, I'm literally a no one to compare to him. Like he still loves. So in fact, there was one time when he said, "Hey, you know what? I'm also I love what Freshworks is doing." I was like, "Yay!" Sort of a feeling. Yeah.
Cool. So the next one is, if you won $1 million, what would you buy? It's a silly question, but yeah.
That's actually a very $1 million. Huh? That's like what, 7 crores. I think, okay. So, I'll obviously buy. For me, it's life is a, like, I don't believe in a like a quickly growing the ladder, right? I mean, you do put your effort, but I just feel if I get it right, I might just not value it enough. I'll probably splurge. I think I might just end up splurging. I'll probably buy a nice car. I'll buy probably a nice house if yeah, hopefully that comes under the budget today. And or I mean, not even buy a house. I'll probably think about, hey, what should I, or probably invest half of the money into some nice startups or something like that. Probably put like 100K into five or something like that. Just diversifying my options. But yeah, I think I just
Fair
feel
enough.
like the thing is, we always age for things like this, right? Like suddenly if you win. But if you ask me, I don't think I have a great answer, to be very honest, because it's just that I don't know what I will do with it.
Fair
I'll
enough.
probably spend. I'll quickly spend it off. I know that I am a splurge person, but yeah, I think after that it'll just become a normal thing, right? It's not a consistent revenue, also, right? Being in SaaS, we are believers of recurring revenue, so
Yeah. Yeah. If the 1 million is an MRR sort of a scenario that you would
oh,
win,
that's a
that would be
very different ball game.
amazing.
That's a very different ball game. Yeah.
uh, what do you think I'd be most surprised to find about you?
Very interesting question. I think. So for a very long time, right? Even like okay, I'm generally an extrovert when you meet me in person. I go up to people and all that, but till like about 3 years ago and all, I never used to turn on my video. I was an introvert while turning on video. Was very shy, like bunch of things, right? Like when you're really speaking to a person from like say the US or the UK or like anywhere in Europe, they're generally I mean, no offense to the color or things like that, but they generally look very bright and pleasant. Whereas for me, there's a little bit of a complexion saying, okay, hey, dark skinned. I used to look fat. It's just about me, folks. I mean, there's no opinion, but bald spot or things like that, right? It used to be such a very strong feeling, and I never, in fact, like the 40 webinars I did, I don't think I've ever turned on. Like maybe for the last five I did because I was pushed to, but then for the first 25 or 30, I don't think I remember turning on my video. But I just felt it was so like, I mean, when I tell my friends that, hey, I am an introvert that way, people never believe me. People will be like, dude, what the heck? You being an introvert, you're the most loudest person in the room generally. So they make fun of me that way. But yeah, I think everyone has their own set of things. Not that, I mean, becoming lean has given me, it does give me confidence, right? Like just appearing in photos or maybe just dressing up to something that you're comfortable about. Or it's more of a healthier thing that I'm concerned about. In terms of that, I think after a period I realized turning on the video just helps build so much of trust, right? If are you paying attention to someone when they're speaking, again goes back to Dale Carnegie, be genuinely interested in what they're saying, types, right? So it actually helps a lot, and I think video has been a game changer. I'm looking at doing a video log. I'll be launching it very soon, where it's going to be like a 90-second video log. Almost like every video will be 90 seconds addressing a very small thing that I have, wouldn't use the word knowledge, more insight on. So planning to do that. So this is where I'm talking about it the first time as well.
Oh, awesome, awesome. So really look forward to that as well. I hope you'll be doing it as an Instagram video or a YouTube video sort of.
So I earlier thought I'll just post on LinkedIn or Instagram regularly, but then I realized search is the mother of all marketing things. So you better rather build it for the long term. So I will upload it on YouTube and heavily SEO optimize it. I mean, that's a very bad word, but I mean, search for search.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
So what is the best memory associated with your organization, Freshworks?
I think so. There was this one day when I was, I think it's again associated to Girish because these are special moments that it's very rare to get time. Now, I mean, earlier it used to be slightly easier, then it became very difficult. Now, he was the one who actually inspired me into the fitness thing. When I went to the US office, he was looking very lean. He had actually trimmed his beard and mustache and all, and looked very, very young. I was like, so we call him G internally because Girish, the capital letter G, right? So we call him G. you look great, right? So, and he was like, yeah, dude, I've lost so many kgs in so many days. He mentioned that. And then I was like, wow. And he actually told me, saying, you know what, you should take up the program. You have age by your side and all that. So, having said that, like, there was this one day when I was really pissed off. This was very early days at Freshworks. And I was pissed off with something about what the work and stuff like that. And I was like, I actually reached out to his personal assistant, and I was like, "Can I get some little bit of his time? I'm just like feeling a little down today." He actually agreed, right? I mean, he didn't have to, but just that he was very sweet. This was even when we were 300, 400 people. He could have just said like, "Hey, I'm a little busy today. Let's do it tomorrow." He called me in the next. He actually pinged me. He didn't even ask his PA to reach out. He pinged me saying, Nivas, I have like two meetings back to back. Can we meet at 4? Right? I mean, I think I had gone right after lunch, so he was like, saying at 4. I was like, obviously, when he says, huh, so I canceled all my meetings from 3:45 itself. I was like, huh, okay. And my seat is over here, and Girish sits somewhere over there. So I'm like constantly looking, I'm like, okay, will he call? Will he call? Will he call? Right? So that sort of a thing. And I went inside. I was just cribbing about something very trivial back then. Now, I mean, back then it seemed important. Now it seemed very trivial. But I was just cribbing about something, saying, gee, this is like this is happening, that is happening, and all that. So he actually spent like about 40 minutes. I was cribbing, I think I was cribbing for some 15, 20 minutes, and he was spending his remaining 40 minutes actually spending that time explaining something, right? Like, I mean, his this thing and all that. It felt so good, right, for an organization that cares so much about you. And another thing is, I think I still remember how the meeting ended. He was like, "Okay, I have to go back home now. I'm done for the day. This was my last meeting for the day. I need to go back to my son to teach him trigonometry or something like that." Right? I started laughing. Right? I mean, when you're really even at that time we were a 10 or a 20 million revenue company. I was like, what, put a tuition teacher and do that, right? Like, I mean, I was of that opinion. But then I think I just believe, like, right now he's also happy that he's working from home, but the amount of time he spends with everyone, right, like the people, just to make sure they're it's just brilliant. So that's my best. I mean, it's a very small, it's not a transformational memory or something like that, but it's just like, wow moment.
Stuck with you.
Yeah.
Right. Awesome. So with that, we come to the end of our rapid fire segment as well. And before we break, we have a small ask for you. It is basically a founder recommendation that we have put it there. But if you can recommend us, one founder or someone, a marketer or someone that you would love to see a chat like this, or if you can give us an intro, nothing like it. But if you would like to see a chat like this, if you can recommend us someone, who would that be?
I think you're already in touch with this person, but Sri Krishnan is a great guy. He used to be part of Freshworks, and now he's gone out to build his next venture, Rocket Lane. Otherwise, I would also recommend another ex-Freshworks founder. His name is Rishi Kulkarni. He runs his company called Rev Sales, based in Bangalore. So it's a very interesting problem statement that they're going after, and I think you should take a look at what they're building. So, I mean,
absolutely,
he's a very I have a lot of respect, and we were very close.
Awesome. Nivas, thanks a lot. It has been an absolute pleasure having you for our IT knowledge series. It has been thanks a lot.
Hey, in fact,
thanks a lot.
I know this is on a Saturday, so but just that it was fun doing this. I actually generally am not a very big fan of some of these interviews, only because it's the same set of questions or things like that. And in fact, I only have like a limited set of things to share also. So it becomes that. But this was fun. I mean, looking back into some photos, the rapid fire and all that. So it was very well structured. All the best for all the initiatives that are going on. And
thanks a lot, Nivas. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Thank you.